This is Nick Filbert. Nick has challenged me to a bass fishing contest today with what I thought were some pretty interesting terms. So, biggest fish wins, one-on-one kayak bass fishing. We're here at Fox Lake, and the loser, Nick had a pretty good idea. Loser
eats worm.
Loser has to eat a worm.
But apparently this guy has like this whole thing that he does with worms where he's gonna cook it. I'm not so sure about that. I'll probably have mine raw like a man.
Well, here's what's funny. Since you don't watch the channel, you probably don't realize I eat stuff like this all the time.
Oh yeah.
So the funny part is, I only get away with eating this stuff all the time because
you keep
I
losing.
pay attention to cooking what needs to be cooked. There's an ungodly amount of bacteria inside
There's
a worm.
an excuse if I've ever heard one.
You are welcome to eat the worm raw, but I will try to discourage you from doing it because it's a horrible idea. I met Nick, what about 5 years ago?
It was a long time before that. It was probably closer to 8 years ago.
Was it that long ago? I knew your dad before I knew you, which Nick's dad passed away a few years ago. What was that, 5 years ago?
5 years ago, about that.
Now, is that who got you into fishing?
Oh yeah, he was the first guy that ever put a rod in my hands, and I was catching bass out here probably about the time you were meeting your first wife.
Okay, well that's an interesting reference point, but yeah.
Well, it was a long time ago, and you're a pretty old man.
Yeah. I got good memories of your dad, man. He was a good friend of mine. So, all right. So, what's your prediction today?
Prediction? I don't see either of us catching anything over 3 pounds. Probably gonna be a battle of attrition where we're counting ounces versus it. But I still think that I'm gonna come out on top.
Is it on a whopper plopper?
Starting out whopper plopper and tiny child. If you know what a tiny child is. The tiny child doesn't work, I'm gonna roll into more traditional Ned rigs, and if the whopper plopper don't start producing, I'm probably gonna roll into a Texas rig and then roll from there and see what happens.
All right. So in all honesty, Nick does have ambitions of competitively fishing, and he's very well studied on bass fishing. So I think he's got a good chance of being a real competitor in that game someday. I bass fish about once a year on average, and so hey Nick, this is what I use. What's that rig called?
That's a Texas rig.
See, I always called that a Carolina rig, so I was wrong. See, that's how much I know about bass fishing.
See,
I'm calling the rig the wrong thing. What's the difference?
The difference is with a Texas rig, you're right here. Normally there'll be a bobber stopper, but you can run it like that. A lot of professionals run it with no bobber stop.
Yeah, I don't need a bobber stop.
But a Carolina rig would be set up here with a swivel about here, and normally it's meant to slide, but not meant to come down here.
So the slide doesn't rest on top of the...
No, you give yourself a leader line with a Carolina rig, and then that way when you're pulling your weight along the ground or along the bottom, your rig will set up a few feet above where it's supposed to. Kind of like a drop shot rig, but a lot more power fishing version of a drop shot rig.
And as much as you know about bass fishing, it's going to be sad if I beat you.
Yeah, and that's actually not half bad of a color, and it made me want to pull out my worm first. I'll stick to my guns, not let the competition get in my head.
Well, let's hit it, dude. Get out there and let's get floating.
I'm out here. Okay. I had to let Aaron get a little bit further away. That way he doesn't see first place I go post up. He's already a lot further out in the lake than I ever actually intended to go.
So, here in this strip pit, this stretch on the right is the high wall, and over here on the left would be the spill piles. So if you're familiar with how these coal mines were dug, they'd have a giant drag line, and it would be sitting on the left, and it would drop the bucket over on the right and then pull it back up the grade, and then it would move right to left and dump the bucket. So that's why you have these ridges that you see up here, and these ridges will extend down underwater, and they make excellent fish habitat. But as we come down here in the lake, it's really going to open up, and that's probably where the deepest part of the pit was. And the spills are really gradual underwater, so where you see these piles, they really extend underwater for a long ways. And to me, I think that's where I'm going to head to start.
Hey y'all, I seem to have struck first. I mean, not even really a whole lot of anything. A little bit of a dink, but I will put them on the scale just to see Yeah, he's not even registering. It's 0.1. It's still a dink, but he's my dink, my first dink of the day.
So with this long worm, I find I get a lot of bites without hook sets because of just the size of it being longer. But when I get a good fish, it's usually bigger. A 12-inch worm is my preferred, but they were out, so this is a 9. I like starting off with something that'll sink like this because I feel like you can get a good idea for where they're at quicker. Very light bullet sinker here, 1/16 of an ounce. I like it to sink nice and slow. They're actually pretty deep. I'm not getting any hits up here in the junk, in the shallow junk. I'm getting everything down here probably in about 13, 14 feet of water.
Oh, if we're going off numbers so far, I'm winning, but size, I haven't had very much luck in the size department. Smells like victory.
Died off as soon as I started getting into the shallow water, and I'm not getting anything coming out of the weeds. So I'm gonna head back out and see if I can find some better structure around the 15-foot mark. Oh, popped it out. Hey, we're starting to get a little action here.
For those that don't know, a tiny child is where you take a soft plastic like this, you know, usually a Seamantle Aztec, and you put a nail weight in one end, and you straight Texas rig it with just a weightless. You don't put any weight on the hook, and that way it sinks down bottom first. I was having a little bit of success with that, but now I'm gonna move into a more traditional rig that Z-Man sells. They're little bullets weights. I like these. Stop me from getting hooked up in the grass and the twigs as much, and lets me move around along the water, which is what I've been needing to do since they just don't seem to be keen on the top water at all. I honestly gotta hope for Aaron to be doing a little bit worse off down by the lake.
There we go. At least got one on the board.
All of my early spots are dried up. I caught a couple little dinks, so I'm not getting skunked, but I'm a little worried. I would be lying to say if I was unflapped right now. I know that Aaron's out there a little bit deeper on the lake right now. I'm gonna give it a little bit of a send out here and see if I can't find some greener pastures for myself. Because, truth be told, I'm not really trying to eat that worm.
Yeah, you turkey.
I'm just trying to beat Aaron. He plays nice in front of the camera, man. That camera turns off. He starts talking a lot more than I do. Well, maybe not more than I do. But man, I just want to beat the guy.
Another little guy. Definitely coming out of deeper water though. Well, they're getting smaller. Oh, he is a smallie, isn't he? Mouth doesn't come back past the eye. That's how you can tell the difference. He's got a little bit of a bronze color, but his mouth, the joint of the mouth doesn't come back past the eye. A large mouth will come back past the eye. Yeah, caught a smallie.
Okay, so I'm down in this cut that I don't think that Aaron knows about. I've just put down another one. Still not quite what I'm looking for. I just saw a absolute behemoth that just strolled under the boat. Maybe upwards of 7 to 8. Weird thing about it was I couldn't identify. I don't know if it was a bass or a carp. It could have been a carp, and I might be freaking out for nothing.
I'm wondering how Nick's doing, because I haven't weighed any of these in, but everything I'm catching is 8 to 10 inches. So I've definitely found out here in the sun, running something a little faster, you know, a little more solid, more consistent retrieve is getting a lot of hits. So I'm sitting here second guessing not bringing my crankbaits, because I could run a crankbait right down these gullies, and I don't know, who knows what I'd bring up with it. But generally I've always kind of looked at crankbaits in this clearer water as too artificial looking, but they do work sometimes. I just had better luck with soft plastics because they present a little better.
There's my frog done. Oh, just decided to open it up, but there's my frog done. Little lunker hunt. Froge.
At some point I'm gonna have to weigh one of these just to have a about the same fish. Not much difference here. A little embarrassing to weigh, but 7 ounces.
I've had that. Never mind. I might be able to get one on camera for you. Come on, still be there. Come on, be interested. Got him. Got him. This one might win it for me. This one might win it for me right here, guys. You think he's beating that? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. A little bit nicer of a bass. Let's get him on the scale. That was a little bit exciting, wasn't it, there for y'all? Normal day at the office for me, but a pound. He's straight up a pound. 0.99, so I'm gonna call him a pound. Might be a little bit warm for the old guy. That, and I know he went out far. I'm a little worried about him at the moment. Wonder if he's gonna make the old paddle back, but if he does, I hope he don't paddle back with anything bigger than this. All right, I'm gonna let you go now, buddy. Thanks for. Actually, you know what? Can't let you go without giving you a sniff. Oh, smells like money.
I'm just letting the wind push me, and I'm just tapping the worm and dragging it down the center of this channel, hoping there's something bigger down there that's gonna want a worm to eat, or I'm gonna be eating a worm, which I don't really want to do. I can already tell he wants to eat a raw worm. It's not a good idea. Disoriented. Not going well. Another smallie. Come here, fella.
Dang it, Bobby. I had one immediately. Yep, I think they like the trench hog. Literally just dipped it in the water and pulled him up. If there was a numbers game, I'd be winning, but man, I just can't pull up anything for any kind of size to save my life.
I saw, I would guess, a 3-pounder hanging out right over here. He was actually hanging out under my kayak for a minute. I think I spooked him out of the weeds when I paddled in, because he was on the side I was casting opposite. So I'm gonna chill out in here, let things calm down, and cast back here in this corner for a minute, and then I'm gonna come back out here and see if I can work this hole and bring him out. And I'm switching over to a super fluke. The fish in this hole are not even looking at that worm, so I'm gonna go with the natural color first, and then I'll kick it over to the green if I don't have any luck with this. It is overcast today, so they might come after this. I think this is smoking shad color, Arkansas shiner. I don't know, there's a few different colors that are just kind of basic. That's it. Well, he's not that big when I was wanting, but I did pull this guy up. So, just in the embarrassing spirit of competition, and just in case Nick doesn't have one, I'm gonna weigh this guy. We have a 9-ounce fish. It probably is my biggest for the day too, so. Well, 9 ounces is a pretty small fish. I'm pretty sure I'm losing this competition. I think my only chance is if Nick just flat didn't weigh anything in. And that would just be sheer laziness on his part.
I wasn't able to get on the camera fast enough, but I hooked into something really good, and my knot failed me. All I got's my bobber stop. That could have won me this easily. Oh man, I'm sick. Oh.
I don't know, I got another one here. This might be 10 ounces. Oh my gosh, check it out. 10 ounces, we got a new record holder. New big fish of the day for me. Well, goodbye, big fella. Thanks for the catch. It was huge. There he is. Well, I caught a lot of fish, but nothing of respectable size. How about you?
Let's put it this way, you got anything over a pound?
Nope. You?
Yep.
You got, what did it weigh in?
1 pound.
16 ounces even? I weighed the last 2 fish just hoping you were having a bad day, and what's that?
I tried to weigh one that didn't even register.
Yeah. Yeah, I had
Hello? A winner! You gotta go to the beach.
I don't know about a winner, but it's just getting a lot of cabbage on it as it comes closer. Baby, come on now, come on now. I don't know about a winner, but it's close. It's not, I would say it's 12 ounces. 13. 13 ounces. Nick is still in the lead.
The bad part is, how many fish do you reckon that you caught?
15.
Me too, I've got like 20. And you know what? How it's sitting, I don't feel very much like a winner though.
Yeah. Done that a few
I've
times.
moved completely the way. You're just gonna cue haul me, ain't you?
Considered it. You wouldn't be the first person that it happened to. Look at that. Oh, I wish I'd have brought him up. That was a warmouth. I think he was a little shocked. Like, what the heck was up with that worm? Well, it's no winner. It ain't happening. I give up. Wait, one. See, there's no point in not doing this in style.
I think you're a pussy.
I'm telling you, man, that's a bad idea. They taste pretty good.
Like dirt.
So being that I'm into a lot of the survival food, I can tell you definitively you should not eat night crawlers without cooking them. There's a lot of wicked stuff that can be in a worm. Parasites, bacteria, fungus, God knows what. So I'll be cooking my worm today. All right. Sauteed worm and a little butter. The trick is a nice low heat.
Low heat on the worm.
Oh yeah, nice low heat.
Like
You want to reduce their moisture content without actually burning it.
I've been there. Squirrel's about the same. Like if you try to fry squirrel.
Totally the same. Worm and squirrel, totally the same.
Close enough.
You know, this isn't even a punishment. These things look delicious. All right, Nick, since you're the champion, you don't have to imbibe into worms, although you already ate one raw.
I'm gonna go for this one.
Give it a shot.
That ain't bad.
My
That's
telling you.
not bad.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
That,
Kind of like a little worm or like a little
if
mushroom
you
or something.
didn't tell me that it was earthworm, I wouldn't know it.
Maybe. Yeah. It's so good. There's a little bit of grit maybe left in a few of them,
It's like
but
it's
could've
like
let 'em purge a
charred
little
bacon,
longer.
but the fat's still there.
Yeah,
Like you didn't
it's
burn
very,
the fat out
it's
of the
very
bacon.
fatty. Yeah, very chewy.
Yeah, no, I can get behind that.
I'm not just gonna eat just one.
Yeah, no, I'm probably gonna have a few more.
Yeah, pretty dang good worms.
You might not be able to catch the fish, but you can definitely cook the bait.
You're not the first person to notice that about me. Well, anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed Reliably Random Outdoors. Nick's never seen an episode of our channel, so maybe he'll actually tune in and watch this one for the first
Give
time.
me that knife.
Let's go fishing with Aaron. You know he'll go anytime. You cutting, working, playing hooky. All you need is a hook and a line.